Everybody to the Service Design Marathon. Katerina Zayko and Mia Lekos, we are co-founders of Service Design Network Ukrainian chapter, and we are organizing this Service Design Marathon to bring the proof that service design brings value to business and to society. So during this marathon, we are presenting international cases from all around the globe that are the cases of solving the actual business or societal challenges. I believe we would have both today, which is interesting and cool. I would appreciate everybody who can switch on the camera so that Hazel can see your faces while presenting. So it's just at least a little bit more interactive. At the same time, I would recommend you to stay on mute so that we don't distract each other with the noise. You are welcome to ask the questions in the chat in English or Russian. I will help you to translate if you need this help. And we will have some Q&A session in the middle of the presentation, and then we will collect all the other questions closer to the end. And I believe we should be starting. I would like to introduce you Hazel Scrimgeour. Am I right? Okay, yes. She is a service designer at Fjord. As you might know, Fjord is the biggest design agency in the world, and they are now part of even a bigger consultancy, which is called Accenture Interactive. So this is like the agency, and we are going to have an interesting case from the country, from South Africa. So Hazel, welcome. Please join us. Please share us your case.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for inviting me. I'm very excited to share. It's one of my passions, actually, is sharing service design knowledge. So again, thank you. Thank you for the invite. Okay, so today I am going to be talking about reimagining and rebuilding South Africa's economy one small business at a time. But what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to introduce myself a little. So my name is Hazel Scrimgeour. As introed, I'm a service design lead at Fjord and Accenture Interactive. I also have a service design master's from the Royal College of Art in London, which is a fantastic place to go. If you want to learn about service design, that's the place. And I also run an Instagram called Service Design in Theory, where I share frameworks, methodologies, and all sorts of things, all service design. So please follow me. And if you have any cool things, please also share. I'm trying to create a space where we can all share with each other and gain some information. So basically, I am in Johannesburg of South Africa. And some people call it the place of gold. So that's our main export out of Johannesburg, is looking at platinum and gold. However, even we've got all this gold and all this mining, we are still seen as one of the most unequal countries in the world. So here you can see from Time magazine, we've got these beautiful houses on the left with these swimming pools and tennis courts. And on the right, we've got informal settlements where many people are still living in deep poverty. So just a fun fact is, did you know that 91% of formalized businesses provide employment to over 60% of our country's labor force? However, 70% of South African small businesses fail within those first 2 years, which is so traumatic for our GDP and where we want to grow as a nation. Some research indicates that 2 million small, medium businesses, so you're going to see SMEs sometimes, that's called small, medium enterprise for those who don't know. Only 50,000 use online platforms to run their companies effectively. And you can only imagine that since COVID, this has really just done incredible damage to us as a nation because our companies are not online. So I want to introduce to you this great project that we built. It's called YEP. It's an online marketplace where you can buy, sell, and bid for services and potentially products in the future across South Africa. So here you can get from quotes, you can learn things. It's a whole package deal of created for and with small businesses. So currently we, just some stats up front, is within 6 months of building, we have over 300,000 users per month on the website. We have 180,000 businesses on the platform. I think it's actually now at 250, I'm unsure about that. And we're sitting at 25,000 app downloads. We also created a strategy to develop a small medium enterprise universe. So including things like financial services, learning, upskilling, and you can do all of this from your mobile device. So to go back, let's take one step back. We're looking at the ask. So if legacy telco actually asked us to fundamentally reimagine the way they connect and serve with small businesses. However, the challenge we faced is this is the telco. Just papers and everything is just super, super manual. And now we had to turn a manual organization overnight into one of digital and e-commerce. So this was a big challenge for us. And what we realized is that many businesses focus on apps and websites, right? We all know this. We get the brief, oh, can I get this new app? Can I get this new website? Where actually the space that we should be focusing on as service designers is looking at culture, ways of working. How do you work with digital platforms? You know, how do you work from paper? How do you change people from paper to now we need to all be agile and we all need to like work with these cool new ways of working. We also have to look at things like operations. How do you operate such a business? As well as then I almost wanted to make this red is infrastructure. Infrastructure when building platforms is just so key and something that we as service designers need to, I believe, upskill in is what is that tech being built on? How can we use it? How can we use it better? And what should we be using? So, as I said, this company had no knowledge of agile ways of working, no knowledge of human-centered design processes, and no product design culture. I love this quote from our CEO of the organization. He says, "My job is a bit like running a 50-year-old startup. The business unit has been around for so long, but we have to operate differently." And I just thought that was such a great, just great statement from a leader and someone who's just totally wanting to change the way we were traditionally working. So using our Fjord model, so this is the Fjord form model called Discover, Describe, Co-create, Scale, and Sustain. We tackled the project, right? So I love the ones at the bottom, if you see the 5 skills, which is looking at design thinking, agile ways of working, data fluency, value creation, and storytelling. So those were really the ways, the skills that we brought to the business and, you know, help them innovate, design for experience, and really create unique inputs for our clients. So I'm going to break it down a little bit on our approach. So we've got think it, build it, ship it. So some of you guys might know this. This is the Spotify model, pretty basic. So I'm going to go through the think it part. So as all our design products start is we have to start with a vision, right? We need somewhere to go, a North Star. So after lots of research, we came up with this. How might telecom become the go-to place that all South African businesses need to succeed, taking them to the future? So a really big vision, like huge vision. And then we focused on 3 key areas, providing businesses with the tools they need the advice they want, and new ways to grow their businesses and get new customers, all customized and personalized to them. So you can really see we have really big ambitions, and really a thing that we were able to all align to as a design team, but also as a business. So we spoke to our customers, spoke to lots of customers. We also spoke to the key stakeholders. So I think in the middle there, you can see some stakeholders. And we just brought out these key points that just we took to the business, and we were like, guys, there's such an opportunity here. Our customers are looking for a solution. Like this one, they need to innovate more like Netflix. And then the one on the right is, I'm running my business by the seat of my pants. The show depends on me. And really just the empathy that we had to have for these small businesses. They were having such a hard time, especially during COVID, which just almost gave us more energy to create a better product. I also want to show you this picture. We all have in our minds, who does a small business look like? But this guy, his name's Koos, he's Afrikaans, and he runs a small business. You know, you can't estimate in your mind of who is a small business. This guy, and this is where he lives, and he runs his small business from here. So another thing we did is we did a full takeover, right? A full takeover of their offices, upskilling our client in the ways that we work. So here you can see their offices. I think on the far right, you can start to see how we are developing one of our platforms. In the middle, you can see the development Kanban. And on the far left, you can see our Kanban. And how we worked is we developed, so from the backlog all the way, we could visually showcase how we were taking one feature all the way from backlog into delivery, in progress, and done. And this was an amazing place because it was almost like a visual artifact for our client, who would often come walk up and down to see what we were doing and how we were doing it. And they would bring their friends from, you know, from different business areas to come and look at what we were doing. So it was a really, really great way to showcase service design. Here you can see how we brought our vision to life, another big showcase. And many, many, many playbacks. I think the reason why the client was so engaged with us is that we constantly showed them what we were doing and how we were doing it. So there were many stickies. As a good service design project, you need to have your stickies. Lots of stickies. But our stickies turned into insights. So I'm going to go through some of our insights. So we developed some insight posters. I don't know if other people do it, but we created 6 insight posters. And these basically became the foundation as to what we built. You know, I like the one number 3, which is digital but physical. So we couldn't just create a digital solution. There were still people who are quite manual, you know, if you need a bit of a phone call, need a bit of hand holding. One of the things that we also realized is that you kind of also have to use what works. So people are already using things like Facebook and WhatsApp and so on and so forth. How can we use that technology they're already using, and and the way they use it, how can we bring it in? So it's just like a seamless integration for our customers. And then my favorite one, which is very controversial. You can imagine showing this to your client. You here paid to build a marketplace, and here you like, the problem of small businesses are not just solved by a marketplace. Our customers are looking for access to funding. They were looking for new ways to learn about business models, how to do tax. You know, there's how to do advertising. That was a big one. How do I market myself? How am I present online? So what we realized is we couldn't just build a marketplace, we needed to really think about all these other things that we needed to encompass into our service proposition. Another thing that we did is, from our insights, we usually create design principles. And I want to tell you a fun story about these. I don't know if people on this call have created design principles before. But if you have, usually what happens is they look at them and then they throw them away, right? What was amazing is we actually got these design principles were showcased at the head of strategy of this organization at their final CEO presentation. And I thought that was just really amazing that we were able to embed design into such a quite manual business. So some of them I like, you know, demonstrate tangible value. People want to see things. They don't just want to see a poster. They don't just want to see a blueprint. Show and tell. Less is more, usability first. Don't overcomplicate things. Our customer cannot work with complicated stuff. So I really, really enjoyed these. And then another thing that is a very Fjord kind of approach is creating mindsets. So from our customer interviews, we didn't just create personas. We took it one step further and we looked at what are the behavioral mindsets of our customer, going deeper than the traditional segmentation of personas. So we kind of created these four. So we've got the digital guru and we've got our business savviness, and I kind of made an axis like that. And we then created these different mindsets. So we've got the curious upstarter, you know, definitely knows how to use digital, but no business knowledge. Digital hustler, we have our hesitant newcomer. She knows nothing about business and she has zero ways of using digital. And then our business veteran. And then what we did is we actually took key features from our proposition and then put them across each different quadrant. And this was so useful for our client to understand that there wasn't just one person that we were designing for. It had to be very dynamic. And one of the cool things that actually they thought of themselves after seeing this was, could we segment our call center to these mindsets? And I was like, I didn't even think of it. And I thought that was just really, really brilliant idea to actually even segment call centers to these different personas. Cool. So I'm not going to go through the detail. So after all of this, right, now comes our service blueprint, like every service designer does, right? So we created mega blueprints. So here you can see how we did from the user journey to features to back office. And then right at the bottom, we did technical recommendations. Again, look, bringing back that thought of infrastructure. What infrastructure do we need to make that user journey work? So then here you can see the different people who would use this platform. So we had 3 major people. So what I did with the blueprint, now I thought this was quite funny because as we know, as service designers, no one reads our blueprints. As much as we love them, no one reads them. So what I did is for our C-suite, for our CEO, what I did is I made these quick videos on Keynote. I think I just like exported it as an MP4. And basically this told the story of the blueprint and we just spoke over it. And so we made each one. So we got Marumo, who's building his own store. We have Monique, who is finding the products that Marumo has put up for sale. You can see how we just made it really simple, very lo-fi. I did this in like quick, just to show what we're building so they could actually give us the money to build it. And then finally, we even created another one for if someone actually wanted to bid for work. And this is just a really nice way that you can bring your blueprints to life. You know, they don't necessarily have to just be meters and meters along a text, just really bringing them to the front so people can just see what you want to do before you do it. And this is before they've even bought the project. Okay. Cool. So I'm going to pause there, I think, for any questions on the process, if there are any.
Please, everybody who wants, just ask your questions. I have a couple, if you don't mind, Hazel. First of all, way at the beginning of your presentation, you mentioned along the approach of Fjord, one of the, as far as I understand, like your core principle was value creation. That one I didn't really get. I mean, the others were more or less obvious. If you can elaborate a little bit on this one.
So value creation actually goes in with so how we often work at Fjord is an interactive. What's so great about interactive is we also are often working with the strategy department. So the strategy people behind the service, there was actually a value proposition with this blueprint. So we ensured that whatever we were presenting back to our client still made sense within the market. So we ensure that value, like business value, is created through our propositions.
Okay. Makes sense. And I'm checking if there are questions from the audience. Two more, if you don't mind. One is, so in the end of the day, you Fjord made interviews with the SMEs and you presented them. Did client participate in the research themselves? People from telco.
So if I remember, no, not necessarily. So that was quite hard for us because you have to build the same empathy that you felt as an interviewer with the client. So there was a lot of storytelling of that. So when we took them through that journey, I don't know if you remember one of the pictures, our vision journey, we put actual client faces and we cut a short video to show the distress of these people and what they were saying and just the hardship that they were going through as small businesses.
Okay. I mean, you answered actually my one more question. How did you build the empathy? Thank you. Okay, there is one more question from Olga, which is, what is the biggest challenge at this part of the project? So as far as I understand, by this part means, again, empathy building, I suppose. If not, you'll correct me.
Sure. Biggest challenge is how do you get the client to buy into your full vision? Because the MVP is always, as we know, is a really skimmed down version of what you came up with, right? So as you can see, the service is really complex. There is like an academy so you can learn things. There is a place where you can, where you get advice. There is a place where you can buy like an Office 365. But as we know is when that prioritization happens, how do you keep the core of the service still alive? And that is still something I'm struggling with today.
I guess not only you. Guilty as well.
Well, it's good to hear. Good to hear.
Yeah, and maybe the last one before we move on. You mentioned about segmenting the contact center. I didn't get the concept. So like segmenting the people, the agents, so they would serve different clients.
Yeah. So actually, they thought of if we could ask the agents. So some agents that we interviewed are very brash and very like young and cool. And then the other agents we interviewed are very patient. So wouldn't it be a great idea to give the edgy ones, you know, the top right guy, you know, the guru. So he knows how to answer the questions quick, you know, I've got 5 minutes. And then you have the really patient person who's taking that hesitant newcomer really through the process. Like, yes, you log in with that button. Yes, ma'am. And, you know, so you've got these different personalities that can actually look after people in different ways.
Well, I never heard of such concept, but I'm a bit in love with it. It's an interesting idea. Thank you.
It is an interesting idea, you know, segmenting call center to behavior. I thought it was really quite cool.
Yeah, super. Thank you. I don't see more questions. I believe they would come closer to the end of the presentation, so I believe we can move on.
Okay, cool. All right, so what I'm going to do is the next part is actually a couple of videos because, you know, I'm tired of talking. So just so you know that what we did is we delivered this concept from MVP in 4 months on app and desktop. Don't think I've ever worked so hard in my life. So here you can see from research, ideation, and then our proof of concept that launched in the market. I think some of those pictures on the top right were actually on my floor of my kitchen where I was taking pictures for, you can actually find this on the Apple Store. So yeah, really it was quite an MVP, quick kind of build. So I'm going to play a video just to show you how this all fits together. So I like to just show that video because I think it's really good to see the people who do it and how we do it. I sometimes think people think products are magic, but there's a lot of scribbling and talking, and it's a messy world out there, you know. So I think showcasing that, especially, we've used that video. There's a longer version. Many times to actually showcase our work and how we as service designers work. So I urge you in your own projects, take videos and put together something. Just, it's a little bit more effort, but just showcasing that story is just more than anything else than a long presentation can tell. Cool, so then we're ready to launch to the market. So one cool thing, because the team was so small and from the client side, we were really able to also own so the look and feel we owned. We also owned the messaging into the market and what it should look like and what it should feel like. So we then put together some scripts, and the main agency, they made a TV ad, and I'm now going to showcase this to you. So this is how your service comes to life.
Wanna find great? Follow me. New listings. Whatever you're looking for. find it on Yelp. Yelp has a range of great traders and suppliers. Those are our artists. Let me take you to the painters. There you go. All local, all vetted, and all-star rated. Find great on yep.co.za.
So there you go, from a book I was reading on Jack Ma, The House That Jack Built. And there we have a new service in the market. So the result is our telco loved the strategy so much, they've changed their corporate branding to YEP. So it's YEP Small Business, no longer Telkom Small Business. They are also now looking into financial services for small businesses from our strategy, a small academy from our strategy to help small businesses. There's also stuff they do now, online webinars to help people with business cases and business models, really going beyond just a marketplace. A new platform. So we were able to create a completely new platform for this telecom, for this telco, to reach these small businesses in a new reimagined way. And for most importantly to me is how can we were changing the lives of many small businesses and giving them a chance to join the digital economy. And things I learned, it's not going to happen overnight. Large legacy African organizations take a long time to change. I'm not sure if it's other places in the world. It takes time. Don't judge too harshly. A movement in the right direction is still movement, even it may take 5 years for your full vision to become a reality. Launch it, create your MVP and launch it into the market. Don't hold your service to yourself. Let your customers see if they like it, and then you can change it. We're very lucky in Africa. The African market is quite forgiving. And our market does not have an established innovation culture yet. So we really have to show our stakeholders something to believe in. We had to put something out there that they could go, I like it, let's put money to it. Before that, they're not just going to believe in a blueprint. And then my favorite one is, I think it's be the drop. Service design is a small drop that can have many, many big ripples. Our blueprints, vision statements may be forgotten, but they may plant a seed to big transformational change long after we leave. So that's my end to that, is be the drop. And I think that is me. Any questions?
Apparently, I forgot to switch on the microphone. That was amazing and inspiring. Thank you, first of all. I encourage everyone to post questions. I'll collect them in chat. And for the moment, if I may, I would have one more question. Did I understand correctly from the story that you were actually like an outsourcing product team to Telkom?
Yes.
So you were placed in the office and basically like showing them the role model of developing a new product. Is it fair to say?
100%. That's exactly. And one of our tasks was also to skill share how, and so that they can, once we've left, they still have that knowledge that they can carry on with Agile and design thinking and the process.
And how was that knowledge sharing built? I mean, this is through this work. So you mentioned them, like when you showcase your work. So basically, that was the way to
No, not only. So there were people in our team. So like product owners were from client side. We had business analysts from client side. So they were embedded within our teams and we saw them as part of our team. So they learned while doing and also learned all the messy stuff in the background as well.
Okay. I mean, is it your usual way of working? Because I never met such approach.
Yes, so that's our usual way here. We all work client side and we all work at the offices. So currently, I'm now also working as a service designer for a telco at their offices. But if it wasn't for COVID, we would all be there.
Well, that's unusual to me. I didn't see it before. Yeah, so I asked this. What is? Yes, yes. I would like to know if there are any questions more from the audience, because I basically had my questions answered. Thank you. Yes, there is one more, but it is be a drop, a beautiful metaphor. So it's more like a compliment to you, Hazel. Thank you. That was really inspiring. And yes, I agree that other people share the same. It really works. It really takes time before the big legacy companies change their way of working. Is there some particular trick because from my experience that one of the things they're afraid of is this piloting or prototyping, because they are very much afraid of failure. Do you have like some techniques that help them overcome this struggle?
Oh my goodness. No, I'm sorry. This client, I must say, the CEO of the SMB for small business, he comes from a digital background. So he was very into, he was quite a cowboy when it came down to digital delivery. You know, he was like, guys, in the market, we'll fix it. But now at my current company, it's very different. So I don't really have tips and tricks. I think it's about getting that, making them feel comfortable that they can fail and that iteration is part of the process. But I know we can say that a million times, but I don't think they would believe us. But I think the more we tell these types of stories and we show them that the whole world didn't just crash and burn, with it in the market. Yes, it's not perfect, but I don't think you need perfect to start off with. Facebook wasn't built, or Uber wasn't built as it is today,
Yeah, I know. They were trying to rent limousines first.
Exactly. That's failure, but then obviously they learn from that.
Yes, there is a question. Could you please tell a little bit about more about the ideation stage? So do you have like specific tools or techniques that work well in such environment?
Ideation phase, sure. Yes. So, we've got, you got your normal like Luma models, your crazy eights and all of those. But to be honest, when I did a lot of quantitative research, like a lot. I read books. I was reading about all the different marketplace models, like from Alibaba, Amazon. I was reading a lot of work from the World Economic Forum and the UN about what were the real problems for small businesses. Because I often find that when you ask your small business, what are their problems? They're not going to give you this marketplace solution. You can't ask someone to innovate for you. So I just was reading so much work. And then what we did is we just drew these ideas up. We drew them again and again and again and again. And the drawings were all over the studio. And I would actually take stakeholders, if they were there, I would take them through it and then go, what do you think? And they're like, no, I don't like that. Okay, scrap it, something new. So I know it's maybe not the most how would I say, like innovative, you know, we used all these cool models. It was more, I guess, pragmatic this time.
Is it what is called, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend, stealing is proud? So basically taking the world knowledge that was already there, just addressing the right problem with the common sense solutions?
100%. I think we're very lucky in South Africa in some ways because we are 5 years behind the rest of the market. I mean, e-commerce is quite new for us. COVID's been the best things ever for e-commerce. So it's been really, it's nice in some ways because we can see what works and then we can also, I guess, leapfrog the mistakes and bring it here for the right audience, as you say.
Super, makes sense, thank you. So basically the moment you understand what the problem is, you just pick the solution that is appropriate for the problem.
And then I guess we do have to custom it to a bit of an Africa, you know, Africa demographic. But yeah, I mean, we can do it. And I suggest we should do it because don't reinvent the wheel. You know, as service designers, it's not always about invention. It's sometimes just about innovating in small ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Just make sure it works.
And solves problems, right?
Excuse me?
Yeah. And solves problems.
Yes, sure. That's what I mean. Well, Hazel, once again, thank you for the wonderful presentation. Thank you for sharing. Very unusual market. It's quite an unusual challenge, and I think it's an interesting way of working with the client. This is something I never heard of before. So thank you very much. Thank you for finding time. Please join us on our next presentations. We will have 2 more during the service design marathon. Let me remind to the whole audience, we are going to have 1 presentation on Wednesday on actually service software as a service model, 1 from Dr. Vidya Rao, and on the very last day of the marathon, on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, sorry, I don't keep my calendar at hand, we will have another presentation on the future of financial services, which will be coming from an experience of the more developed markets, so we can somehow compare. Thank you very much.
Cool.
Thank you for joining, Hazel. You're welcome. And again, thank you for the wonderful presentation. That was amazing. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.